Chapter 9. His Last Days. In the year 1306 BS, Nagmahashaya could not come to Calcutta as usual during the puja time to make purchases. In the latter part of Agrahayana, that is November of that year, a devotee who was living in Calcutta received a wire from Nagmahashaya's wife intimating him about his serious illness. The devotee was to read a paper on the religion of the Vedas the next day at a meeting of the Ramakrishna mission. He was placed in a rather embarrassing position, but Swami Adbhutananda told him, "You will have many occasions in your life to deliver lectures on Vedas, and people there will be always to hear your lectures. But if Nagmahashaya passes away, you lose the opportunity in your life to see any more a living Veda." Accordingly, he started for Devbhog that very same day. The next day, before it was dark, he reached Devbhog. On entering the house, Mr. Chakravarti, the said devotee, found Nagmahashaya lying on the portico of his room. It was then winter. When the piercing chill blast blew at night from the neighboring meadows, it was very difficult for a healthy man, not speak of a patient, to pass the night on the portico walled up by a few screens with innumerable crevices in them. Finding him in that situation, Chakravarti inquired the cause. Nagmahashaya's wife replied in a low voice, "My dear boy, since the day he became too weak to get up from his bed, he has been lying here in this condition in spite of our requests to the contrary. The colic pain increased some time ago, and then he had an attack of dysentery. This disease took a serious turn, and with his consent I sent a wire to you." Nagmahashaya never mentioned of his sufferings to anybody. He had said to his wife once, "My prarabdha has almost come to an end. A little more only has to be worked out." Before he was attacked by the illness, he was becoming weaker and weaker every day. He used to take very little food during daytime, and at night he fasted. He was reduced almost to a skeleton. If he found his wife sighing with anxiety for him, he would say, "Why do you get anxious for this body? A despicable cage of flesh and bone?" None could persuade him to use any medicine. Now he had become seriously ill and kept on lying down in the park. All persuasions to take him inside the room failed. During his illness, he could be seen suffering from unbearable pain, but not for a moment was he overcome by agony. All the time he had no other talk on his lips, save that of the kindness of his master Sri Ramakrishna. Continually for 13 days till the death of Nagmahashaya, Mr. Chakravarti lived with him. During these days he read the Gita, the Bhagavatam and the Upanishads before him, and sometimes he sang songs on the Divine Mother. While hearing those songs, often Nagmahashaya lost his sense consciousness, and for hours together he was found to be in deep samadhi. After returning from these states of ecstasy, he used to cry out, "Mother, Mother," just like a baby awakening from deep slumber. All the sattvika expressions would become prominently manifest in his body during those periods. Again, at times, when he came back from the superconscious states, he muttered, "Satchidananda, Satchidananda, Akhanda Chaitanya." During his illness, many of his devotees used to visit him, and sometimes they passed the nights with him. And strange, though he was bedridden all the time and suffer from severe pain, he never forgot to receive his guests kindly as the veritable Narayanas. He directed his wife to see that they got their meals in time and comfortable beds to sleep on. In fact, he was anxious to see that every arrangement was made for the comfort of his guests during their stay in his house. It became a regular festive time, as Nagmahashaya would not talk of anything else but of the Lord and his devotees. The latter breathed an atmosphere in his presence which made them forget all their miseries and tribulations of the world and made them think of God only. If Nagmahashaya ever found them anxious on his account, he said, "Alas, why have you taken so much trouble to come to see this despicable cage of flesh and bone? It will not last long. It is ever changing." Mr. Chakravarti used to spend most of his time in the presence of Nagmahashaya during his illness. He heard him always say, "How gracious and kind is God! It is all the grace of the Lord." But seeing his sufferings, Mr. Chakravarti once thought, "God is not gracious but cruel." Nagmahashaya read the mind of this devotee and said, "Boy, don't even for a moment be doubtful about the boundless mercy of God. What good to the world can be expected of this body? See, it is bedridden. I cannot even serve the Narayana in you, and so Ramakrishna, out of this boundless mercy, is making this despicable body of mine disintegrate into the five elements." Then, in a feeble voice, he said, "Let the body take care of itself. Let miseries and sufferings take care of themselves. O my mind, you always remain aloof from them and cling to the blissful nature of the self." Again he continued, "Be not anxious for this body. Please don't think of this cage of flesh and bones. Take the name of the Divine Mother. Talk of Sri Ramakrishna. These are the only medicines for the disease of the world." Mr. Chakravarti then began to sing a song on the Divine Mother. He sang it with such fervor that at last he forgot himself and his surroundings, when suddenly he was called aloud by the wife of Nagmahashaya. To his great surprise, he found at that moment Nagmahashaya sitting still on his bed, his eyes fixed on the tip of his nose, and tears trickling from his eyes down his cheek. While hearing the song, he fell into samadhi. Mr. Chakravarti did not notice it when he had sat up in that posture. During those days, it was even difficult for Nagmahashaya to change sides lying on the bed without the help of others. So both Mr. Chakravarti and Nagmahashaya's wife got nervous, for it might have been great strain to his nerves. They carefully made him lie down on his bed. Nagmahashaya meanwhile had come back to his sense consciousness. He was then muttering the name of the Divine Mother. Once Mr. Chakravarti said to him with great earnestness, "Sir, please shower your grace on me. In your absence, how shall I remain in this world? On whom shall I depend?" Nagmahashaya replied, "What is there to be afraid of? When you have taken shelter at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, be assured he will shower his grace on you. One who wants him must realize him." Swami Saradananda was then staying at Dhaka on some business connected with Ramakrishna mission work. He often used to come and see Nagmahashaya and give sound counsel regarding his treatment and nursing. Swami Saradananda had a very good voice for singing. Nagmahashaya requested the Swami to sing some of the songs Sri Ramakrishna liked dearly. He sang about 3 songs, and while hearing them, Nagmahashaya fell into samadhi. At the advice of the Swami, his devotees uttered the name of the Divine Mother in his ears, and soon he came down from the superconscious state.